Imagine the warmest water you have ever stepped into. Soft sand under your feet, a clear sky. Somewhere off the coast of northern Australia, or Thailand, or the Philippines. You walk in until the water reaches your knees. You feel something brush your leg, soft. Almost like a piece of plastic bag drifting past, you will not see what touched you. By the time you understand what is happening, you will already be losing. Within 90 seconds, your blood pressure will spike so violently that your heart may simply stop beating. Within 2 minutes, you could be dead. There is no antivenom on most beaches, no emergency room close enough, no sound. No warning. The animal that found you has no brain, no bones, no face. It has been hunting for 600 million years. It has survived every mass extinction on this planet, and almost no one outside of one country has ever heard of it. This is the story of an animal so well built for killing that scientists at the University of Sydney spent years rebuilding its venom inside a laboratory just to understand what it does to a human cell. It does not look like a predator. That is the most dangerous thing about it. Chapter 1. What we get wrong about killers. When people are asked to name the deadliest animal on Earth, almost everyone says the same things. Shark, lion, crocodile, tiger, sometimes wolf. These answers are wrong, and they are wrong by a wider margin than most people would believe. According to data from the World Health Organization, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, and the global health dataset Our World in Data, sharks kill around 6 to 8 humans per year worldwide. Lions kill roughly 22, wolves fewer than 10. These are powerful, and they are dangerous, but the number of people they actually kill is tiny compared to what people imagine. The real killers are smaller, quitter. Often invisible, the single deadliest animal on the planet is the mosquito. Through the diseases it carries, malaria most of all, the mosquito kills around 700,000 people every year. The CDC has called it plainly the world's deadliest animal. After mosquitoes come snakes. Around 100,000 deaths a year, almost all of them in rural communities in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, where antivenom is hours away and feet are bare. After snakes come dogs, tens of thousands of deaths a year, almost entirely through rabies. You can see the pattern. The animals that kill the most humans are not the ones with the loudest reputations. They are the ones that arrive quietly, in places where help is far away. But there is one predator that does not appear on these lists because it does not kill at scale. It kills rarely. It kills fast. And when it does, it kills in a way that has shocked emergency room doctors for over 100 years. It lives in water you would consider safe. It lives in places people swim every single day. And it is, by the measure of pure venom potency, the most dangerous creature in the ocean. Chapter 2. The thing in the water the animal is called the box jellyfish, more specifically Chironex fleckeri. The Australian box jellyfish, named after the doctor who first identified what was killing swimmers off the coast of Queensland in the 1950s. For a long time, doctors there had a problem they could not explain. Children would walk into the water at the beach. A few minutes later, they would be screaming on the sand. Some of them did not survive the trip to the hospital. Their bodies were marked with strange welts that looked almost like whiplashes, long, thin, raised lines, often in patterns that wrapped around an arm or a leg. The skin under the marks was dying. The hearts of the victims were giving out. For years, no one knew what was doing this. The truth, when it was finally identified, was hard to accept. The killer was a jellyfish. But this was not the jellyfish you might imagine, the soft little dome that floats up onto a beach and dries out in the sun. This was something else entirely. A fully grown Chironex fleckeri has a bell, the dome of its body, about the size of a basketball. From the corners of that bell hang up to 60 tentacles. Each tentacle can extend 3 meters long. That is roughly 10 feet. Some of the largest specimens have a total tentacle length, end to end, longer than a city bus. Those tentacles are not soft, they are coiled like a hunting line. Each one is covered, along its entire length, in millions of microscopic structures called nematocysts, tiny biological harpoons. The animal does not need to bite, it does not need to chase. When something brushes one of those tentacles, the nematocysts fire automatically, in less than 1,000th of a second, driving venom deep into the skin. Researchers at the University of Sydney, specifically Associate Professor Greg Neely and his team at the Charles Perkins Center, have estimated that a single fully grown box jellyfish carries enough venom in its body to kill more than 60 adult humans. 60. One animal, drifting in the shallows where children play. Chapter 3. What the venom actually does. To understand how this animal kills, you have to understand what its venom is built to do. Most venoms work slowly. A snake's venom may take hours to do real damage. A spider's venom may take days. The body has time to respond. Doctors have time to arrive. Box jellyfish venom does not give the body time. In a paper published in Nature Communications in 2019, the Sydney team mapped for the first time exactly how the venom attacks human cells. Using a technology called CRISPR, the same gene editing tool you may have heard about in the news, they were able to take millions of human cells, switch off one gene in each, and then expose them to box jellyfish venom. The cells that survived told them which genes the venom needs to do its work. What they found was almost unbelievable. The venom punches microscopic holes in the surface of human cells. Through those holes, potassium, a mineral your nerves and your heart depend on, pours out of the cell and into the bloodstream. Within seconds, the level of potassium in the victim's blood spikes so high that the heart can no longer beat in rhythm. This condition has a medical name, hyperkalemia. In an emergency room, it is treated as a cardiac emergency on its own. It is what doctors fight when a patient is in kidney failure or has been crushed under heavy weight for too long. A box jellyfish does it in 2 minutes. This is why, in the official medical literature, deaths from severe stings of Chironex fleccacari are described as occurring within 2 to 5 minutes after exposure. The University of Hawaii's Department of Tropical Medicine has documented cases of cardiovascular collapse this fast in laboratory testing. It is not a slow poisoning. It is closer to an electrocution from the inside. And it is not the only thing the venom does. The venom also breaks down skin. Anywhere a tentacle has touched. Chapter 4. This is not a floating jellyfish. If everything described so far sounds passive, a drifting bag of poison that swimmers blunder into, there is something you need to understand. The box jellyfish does not drift. The box jellyfish hunts. Almost all jellyfish you have ever seen in your life are at the mercy of the current. They float. They get pushed wherever the water takes them. They are, in the strictest sense, plankton. Box jellyfish are different. According to the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the box jellyfish can swim under its own power. It moves by jet propulsion, pulsing the muscle ring at the base of its bell, and it can reach speeds of nearly 4 knots. That is roughly 4.5 miles per hour, faster than most people can swim. It can steer, it can change direction. It can decide where to go. And here's the part that has unsettled biologists for decades. A box jellyfish has eyes. Not 1, not 2, 24 of them. The eyes are arranged in clusters of 6, one cluster on each of the 4 sides of its cube-shaped bell. Some of those eyes are simple light sensors. Some of them are extraordinarily sophisticated. They have lenses. They have retinas. They have the basic structure of a vertebrate eye, the kind of eye you have, the kind a dog has, the kind a fish has. This is happening in an animal with no brain. A box jellyfish does not have a centralized nervous system. It has a ring of nerve fibers around the base of its bell. That ring takes signals from 24 eyes, processes them in a way no one fully understands, and somehow uses that information to navigate, to hunt, and to avoid obstacles. Marine biologists have observed box jellyfish actively dodging black columns placed in their tanks during behavioral experiments. They have watched them turn toward prey and accelerate. They have, in some species, watched them follow rhythms tied to the moon, surfacing to spawn on specific lunar nights, returning to the depths between them. In Hawaii, in fact, the local box jellyfish are so reliable about this that lifeguards know the calendar. According to data tracked by marine officials there, the jellyfish arrive at the shoreline 7 to 10 days after a full moon, every month, like clockwork. Some beaches close on those days. The jellyfish do not seem to know they are dangerous. They are simply doing what their lineage has been doing for hundreds of millions of years. Chapter 5. Older than the dinosaurs, the lineage is what scientists call the box jellyfish family, technically the class Cubozoa. And this is where the story becomes almost philosophical. The earliest fossils of jellyfish-like animals, soft-bodied, multi-tentacled, pulsing, date back roughly 600 million years. The box jellyfish lineage itself is estimated by paleontologists to be at least 500 million years old. To put that in perspective, the first fish appeared around 530 million years ago. The dinosaurs did not appear until around 230 million years ago, and they went extinct 66 million years ago. The box jellyfish was already old when the first dinosaur hatched. It was old when the first dinosaur died. It is old in a way that is hard for the human mind to hold. It has survived 5 mass extinction events. The one that killed the dinosaurs, the one before that, the one before that. Every time the planet has nearly emptied itself of life. Through asteroid strikes, through volcanic winters, through the collapse of the oceans. This animal has come through the other side. Largely unchanged, there is a reason for this, and it is worth understanding. Box jellyfish are simple. They do not need much oxygen. They reproduce explosively when conditions are right. They can lie dormant as small polyps stuck to the seafloor, sometimes for years, until the water warms again. When extinction sweeps across the planet, the box jellyfish hides at the bottom and waits. When the water warms, it comes back. And right now, in 2026, the water is warming. Marine researchers across multiple institutions The Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organization in Australia, oceanographic teams reporting through the United Nations Environment Program have documented expanding ranges for box jellyfish over the past 2 decades. Species that used to be confined to tropical Australia and the Indo-Pacific have been recorded in waters that should be too cold for them. Sightings have been reported off the coast of Japan, off the coast of Florida, off the eastern Mediterranean. The animal that has survived every mass extinction is for the first time expanding into new oceans. It is hard to call that a comeback. It never left. Chapter 6. The boy on the beach. I want to tell you one true story because statistics do not make this real, and I want this to feel real. In February 2021, a 17-year-old boy was swimming off a beach on the western side of Cape York Peninsula in far northern Queensland. Cape York is the northernmost tip of Australia. The water there is warm year-round. Box jellyfish are known to be present in the wet season. He was stung in the water. He made it back to shore. By the time emergency services reached him, the venom had done what venom of this kind does. He was in critical condition. He was airlifted to a hospital. He was placed in intensive care. He survived for 10 days. He died on the 14th of March, 2021. He was the first person to die from a Chironex fleckery sting in Australia in over a decade. He was 16 years old when he was stung. He had a birthday in hospital. In February of 2022, a 14-year-old girl was stung off another beach in the same region. She did not survive. These are not historical events. These are children swimming on family vacations 8 years ago and 4 years ago. In a country with first-class medical infrastructure. In a country that has spent decades putting up warning signs, posting jugs of vinegar along the beaches as first aid stations, deploying stinger nets to keep the jellyfish out of swimming areas. The animal still gets through. It is worth saying clearly because it matters. Deaths from box jellyfish are rare. The official count of fatalities from Chironex fleckery since records began in 1883 is around 79. That is, on average, less than 1 death a year over a century and a half. Most people who are stung experience pain and welts and they recover. The chance, if you swim at an Australian beach during the warm season, of dying from a box jellyfish sting is extraordinarily low. But the chance is not zero, and when it happens fast. That combination, rare but unstoppable when it strikes, is part of why this animal occupies a place in the human imagination that almost no other creature can claim. It is a thing that almost never finds you, but if it does, you do not get to negotiate. Chapter 7, The Antidote. There is finally some good news. And the good news comes from the same people who first showed us how terrible the venom really is. In April 2019, the team at the Charles Perkins Centre at the University of Sydney, led by Associate Professor Greg Neely and Dr. Raymond Lau, published a paper in Nature Communications that did something nobody had done before. They identified a drug that could block the box jellyfish venom from killing human cells. They had been studying the venom in the laboratory. They were using the CRISPR technique to map exactly how the venom kills. And in the middle of that work, they made a discovery that surprised them. The venom does its damage through a specific cellular pathway. And there was already a drug that had been developed for an entirely different purpose for a different disease that happened to block that same pathway. They tested it, they applied it to human cells in the laboratory. The cells survived. They tested it on live mice. The mice that received the antidote after being exposed to venom did not develop the tissue scarring and pain that mice without the antidote experienced. In Associate Professor Neely's own words in the press release issued by the University of Sydney, the team was, quote, super excited. The antidote has to be applied within 15 minutes of the sting. It is not yet available as a public medication. The researchers are working on developing it as a topical spray. Australian beachgoers may in the next several years have access to a small canister at every patrolled beach that could neutralize the most lethal venom on Earth. It is the first time in the 600 million year history of this animal that any species, including humans, has had a real defense against it. Think about that for a moment. For 600 million years, this animal has been winning. Every fish, every shrimp, every unlucky swimmer, once the venom is in, the body has had no answer. And then, in 2019, in a laboratory in Sydney, a group of researchers studying chronic pain happened to look at the venom under a new lens and found a door they had not been looking for. The door was already there, they just needed CRISPR to see it. Chapter 8. What this animal teaches us. I want to come back to the question we started with. If you had to name the most dangerous predator on Earth, you would probably name something with teeth. Something you could see coming. That is not how nature actually works. The most dangerous things on this planet have again and again turned out to be the ones we did not look at. The insect we swatted away on a summer night, the snake in the grass on a rural road, the transparent ribbon of tissue, no bigger than a basketball, drifting through the warm water of a vacation beach, power in nature is not always loud. A lion charges, you hear it, you run. You might not escape, but you knew it was there. The box jellyfish does not announce itself. It does not roar. It does not stalk. It simply exists in the water you are already in, doing what its lineage has been doing since before there were eyes on this planet to see it. And yet, despite everything, despite the speed of the venom, despite the 24 eyes, despite the 600 million year head start, a small group of pain researchers in a city on the southern coast of Australia have started to crack the lock. We have spent so much of our history afraid of the wrong predators. We have spent so much of our culture pointing to the obvious teeth, the obvious claws, the obvious shadows in the water. We have looked past the things that were always going to win, and then sometimes slowly we start to see them. The box jellyfish is not a monster. It has no intent. It does not want to harm you. It does not want anything. It is older than wanting. It is just an animal, perfectly built, doing what it has always done. The only thing that has changed is us. We are finally starting to look. In the next episode of this series, we are going to leave the warm, shallow water and travel to something colder. Something that hunts in the dark. Something that has, in the last 10 years, been documented doing things in the ocean that biologists used to believe were impossible. If you want to know what it is, you will have to come back. Until then, be careful where you swim.